You've heard it a million times. Great leaders are born, not made. But what if I told you that's not just a tired cliche? What if it's actually a really dangerous misconception that's costing companies billions? Today, we're going to tear that idea apart and look at what it really takes to build the leaders we so desperately need.
We all know a Sarah. Heck, maybe you've been Sarah. You're an absolute rock star at your job. You get that promotion, and suddenly you're in charge of a team. The thing is, the skills that made you an amazing engineer are not the same skills you need to be an amazing leader. And that, right there, is where the trouble starts. Sarah's story, it's really just a symptom of a much, much bigger problem. A recent study found that employees rated only 40% of their leaders as high quality. Now let's flip that around. A staggering 60% of employees do not think their leaders are effective. That is a huge crisis of confidence. More than half the workforce feels like they're on a ship without a captain they can trust.
And here is the absolute kicker. Companies are throwing billions, that's billions with a B, at leadership training, and that 40% number hasn't budged in 15 years. We're spending more money than ever, and we are getting exactly zero improvement. So what is going on? Well, that's what we're here to figure out.
Look, this isn't just about a few unhappy employees or some numbers on a chart. We are talking about a full-blown leadership development crisis. And it's costing companies dearly, not just in dollars and cents, but in talent, in morale, and in their ability to innovate.
Let's just talk about the human cost for a second. A whopping 71% of leaders say they're drowning in stress. And almost half of them, 40%, have thought about just throwing in the towel and quitting. But it's not just the leaders who are hurting. We've all heard that people don't leave companies, they leave managers. Well, it's true. When we fail our leaders, we fail their teams. It's a domino effect. Okay, but here's the good news. There is a better way. It's not about booking another boring death by PowerPoint workshop. It's about a completely different approach to developing leaders, one that's actually designed to create real, lasting change.
So what exactly is a leadership development program? Well, at its core, an LDP is a journey, not a one-time event. It's a structured process that weaves together learning, practice, and a ton of feedback to build not just the skills, but the entire mindset of a great leader.
So what are we actually trying to achieve here? It goes way beyond just teaching someone how to run a meeting. It's about building the fundamental skills to handle tough conversations, to make smart decisions when the pressure is on, and to truly inspire a team to bring their A game. Ultimately, it's about creating a pipeline of future leaders who are not just competent, but confident and, compassionate.
But let's be real for a minute. Leadership development is a serious investment of time and money. So what's the return on that investment? Well, it turns out it's not just about making people feel good. It's about driving real, measurable business results. See, when you invest in your leaders, you're not just helping one person. You're creating a ripple effect that touches every single corner of your organization. Okay, get ready for this number. For every single dollar a company invests in leadership development, it gets, on average, $7 back. That's a 7x return. That's not just a good ROI, that's an absolute game changer. I mean, if you could get that kind of return anywhere else, you'd be all in, right? So where does that incredible 7x return even come from? It's not magic. It's all about real, tangible results. We're talking about higher sales because teams are more motivated. We're talking about lower employee turnover because people actually like working for their managers. And we're talking about saving a ton of money on recruiting because you're growing your own talent from within.
It's really a classic win-win. The organization gets a stronger, more capable leadership team and a healthier culture. But the individual leader, they get something just as valuable: the confidence and the skills to not just survive, but to actually thrive in their role. And that's a recipe for long-term success for absolutely everyone. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Here's a quote from a real-life VP in the business services industry. They saw a direct, undeniable link between their investment in leadership training and a more engaged, more loyal team. That's the kind of impact we're talking about here. So, we know what a great LDP can do, but how do you actually build one? How do you design it for maximum impact? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And in this next section, we're going to break it all down. First things first, who is this for? The short answer is pretty much everyone. Leadership isn't some exclusive club for the folks in the C-suite. It's for the new grad leading her first project. It's for the mid-level manager trying to connect with his team. And yeah, it's even for the senior exec who wants to keep getting better. It's all about meeting people where they are and helping them grow.
So what does this journey look like in practice?
Well, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all program. A great LDP is a blend of different learning experiences. We're talking about everything from self-assessments and workshops to mentorship programs and real-world on-the-job projects. And the secret sauce? A constant loop of feedback and coaching that helps leaders adapt and grow in real time.
And here's a little secret that the best learning pros know. The real, sticky learning doesn't just happen in a classroom. It happens on the job. That's the whole idea behind the famous 70-20-10 model. It basically says that 70% of our development comes from hands-on experience, 20% comes from learning from others, and only 10% comes from formal training. So if your LDP is just a series of workshops, you're missing about 90% of the picture. So what's next? The world of work is changing faster than ever before. And that means the old rulebook for leadership, you can pretty much toss it out the window. So what does it take to lead in this new era of AI, remote work, and constant change? Let's take a look. Get ready for a new phrase you're going to be hearing all the time. Human plus AI leadership. No, this is not about robots taking over. It's about leaders learning to work with AI, using it as a tool to make better, faster, more data-driven decisions. Think of it like having a super smart co-pilot helping you navigate the complexities of the modern workplace. And that really brings us to the ultimate leadership challenge of our time. How do we embrace all the power of technology without losing our humanity? How do we use AI to be more efficient without sacrificing the empathy, the trust, and the connection that actually make us human? That is the tightrope that every single leader is going to have to walk from now on. So here's the bottom line. The future of work is already here. And the only way we're going to navigate it successfully is with a new generation of leaders. Leaders who are as human-centered as they are tech-savvy. So the real question is, how will you build them? Because the future of your organization truly depends on it.